Hello and welcome in for another reading. I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. Those are words that are coming through right from the jump. Let's go ahead and start this reading for you. Okay. So we have the High Priestess in reverse. This might be finding you in a place of darkness. Wow. And for the card to just flip like that, what is this card? The Paladin of Earth Guardians in reverse. So this place of darkness that this might be finding you in might be related to the earthly realm. So maybe you've been having some troubles with finances, with physical resources, whether it's, utilities, maybe some of your assets, like vehicles or, legal stuff. It's just basically anything of this 3D. It feels like this reading might be finding you in a tough spot right now. And I know the first half of July, and as always, these messages are timeless. But the first half of July, man, I know it's been rough for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Even when you look at the astrology behind the first half of July, it was one that dug up a lot of things for the collective. So for you, it feels like, this is kind of finding you at a time where maybe you're looking for hope, looking for some answers. Maybe you're feeling really exhausted. Whatever it might be, keep going. And I'm really glad that we crossed paths today. And I'm grateful to do this divine service for you, of doing a reading for you to see what you're needing to hear today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we have these two cards who flew onto the crystals. So I have a collection of crystals over here outside of the camera's view. But numbers 1 and 8, and they were both in the overlay position. So number 1 being the Magician, transformation through illumination, and 8th is origins of light, strength. So during this time, this really tough period that you're going through, there's light that's coming in. And I think you're starting to see it and feel it. Your guides are always there with you, your spirit team, even when it feels like maybe they're not. And when you're in the depths of hardship, it can be really hard to hold on to your faith. But here, seeing both of these cards, these are really powerful cards. This is like divine protection, divine support. This is like the pressure that creates diamonds, This is the pressure that creates diamonds. And seeing both of these cards in the overlay for you that flew on top of the crystals, like some of my divine tools that I have here with me, this feels like a direct message from your spirit team to keep going. We are here. We are blessing you with strength. We are blessing you with protection. You are not alone. And things are about to get so much better. What else do we have here? We have the 7 of water. Let's look at all the cards that we have. The the Ace of Portals and the Initiate of Light Codes. So we got some more fire here. The Sun card. Oh shit. Oh my gosh. The Six of Cups in reverse. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah. So starting with these cards in the reverse, right? Like we've got the Seven of Water, the Six and Seven of Water. I didn't even realize that when I first looked at them. The Six and Seven of Water. This may signal some ancestral wounding. A lot of this hardship that you've been experiencing isn't just from your own doing, as much as, you know, sometimes we would like to believe as humans. Sometimes we like to play God and thinking that we create everything that we experience. But this is like showing you that a lot of what you've been healing, a lot of what you've been going through is actually intergenerational. It's something that people before you also experience in some way, shape, or form. And it's like this really deep sense of overwhelm. And that deep sense of overwhelm, especially with this portal here, it really feels like these woundings or these wounds have been present throughout your lineage. And that's probably why they feel so dense and so heavy. But when we look at all of these cards and the overlay for you, I mean, the Sun card, the Ace of Portals, the Initiate of Light Codes. I mean, you've got three major arcana here for you. And this is signaling with all three of these major arcana, all three in the overlay too. These are huge shifts that are happening for you in your life at this time. Things are about to shift in ways that you didn't even imagine, in ways that you're not expecting. Like I get the sense that maybe you're feeling like things are about to turn a corner, but it's a feeling. You know, it's not like fully formed, it's not fully clear, but you feel it. You feel the rumbling, right? Yeah, you feel the rumbling. You feel that energy like vibrating, and it's, gosh, how do I say this? It's like its outer waves are reaching you. You're getting closer and closer and closer to this breakthrough. And especially with the Sun here too. Shine bright in who you are, your authenticity. Allow your inner child to come through. Allow yourself to be seen. And, you know, that can be really hard, especially if some of this ancestral wounding is around being seen. Because there's something that can be really scary about that spotlight, right? When we think about the Sun card, it's like shine bright unapologetically. Like the sun doesn't apologize for shining. And it sounds a little silly, but it doesn't. It's one of our great luminaries in the solar system. It doesn't apologize for shining. But maybe you had to growing up. Maybe you had to in some spaces. Whether it was like because of other people, societal expectations, familial harm, again, the intergenerational piece, whatever it might have been. You could have had to apologize for shining. But seeing this here, especially like with these other major arcana and in the overlay, it is time. It is time for you to shine. And to support you in this, your spirit team is here. So with this Ace of Portals and this Initiate of Light Codes, I mean, come on. This Ace of Portals, so the portals in this deck is representative of the element of water. And seeing this star nursery, it's like, hey, you have access to new beginnings. You have access to new beginnings. Whatever you decide, whatever you want. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. I mean, even with this Magician card, Your spirit team is here, and it's telling you that it's going to be okay. And they're saying it's going to be okay, and good job. Good job for getting through this. And here you go. You get to pick and choose whatever you're ready to birth, whatever you're ready to bring into this realm. And then with the initiate of fire, like, you're going to take this and you're going to run with it, and it's going to be spectacular. Whew. Oh my goodness. Trying to, I'm trying to breathe through the tears. I mean, creation at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, you're about to, this next phase, this next turn that is happening, you're being called to create. You're being called to co-create. I mean, seeing this with the Magician, the Strength card, the Initiate of Fire, the Ace of Portals, like that Star Nursery, and the Sun. Like, I was literally readjusting it because my sleeve got it, and I realized, no, that's like, that was a sign to also include the Sun. The Sun is really important here. But remembering to create. Wow. Are you joking? Oh my gosh. The tears, they won't stop. They won't go away. And the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless for you. You're gonna get to pick and choose what you would like in this next adventure, this next chapter of your life. You've done such a good job at getting through this dark season, this winter, even though it's the middle of summer right now. Again, timeless, right? But seriously, you've held on, you pushed through, you've been transmuting the shit out of these densities that are all around you. You've been doing the work, and it has not been easy. It has not been easy at all. And things are about to make a turn for the better. These possibilities are limitless. Let's go ahead and see what guidance is here for you, this Divine Feminine deck. Gosh. Okay, so we've got 3 messages here for you. There's Lilith, the first woman. I am the voice of my body and soul. I choose the life that I desire to live. So this may be a good opportunity to look into where Lilith is in your chart. There is also the joy-permeated mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. A beautiful and abundant card. Doesn't it feel like the Queen of Pentacles? Like seeing that depiction there. And then we also have the Patroness of impossible causes. I am miraculous. My prayers create powerful channels of possibility. Okay, we'll go ahead and look up the messages for each of these cards, starting with Lilith. Page 142, landed on 78. Lilith asks, what would happen if you left everything behind? She wonders what prevents you from getting to experience all that you desire. Is it you? Is it an idea of someone you have to be? Is it society's definition of what it means to be a woman? Or I'll add whatever gender that you identify with. Lilith asks the questions that sometimes never fully reach the light of consciousness. Lilith is unclaimed. She is the ruler of her body and soul, and she reminds us that we are too. And not only that, we have a sacred obligation to be the body's fierce protector. If I were entirely equal to everyone else, to every person and every angel, what would I choose for my life? If I see myself as worthy as the first woman ever created by the divine, or the first person ever created by the divine, what more would I ask for? Am I living the life I desire? Am I actually fulfilled sexually in my current relationship? Are there aspects of my sexuality I haven't been able to face and voice? Lilith refused to settle. She answered all these questions within her and took action on the truth she uncovered. Lilith demanded that she meet with what she really desired, and she's here to demand that we all do the same. Her soul voice meditation is, what does the life I truly desire look like? And the intention again is, I am the voice of my body and soul. I choose the life that I desire to live. So it feels like Lilith is bringing a lot of really tough questions to ask yourself. I mean, one of the first ones, it's like, what would happen if you left everything behind? And I don't think this is necessarily asking or prompting people to leave everything behind, but it's more of getting at this question of, as you are about to make this turn and move into this next chapter, what are you ready to let go of? And I feel like for a lot of people, this letting go can feel almost like this pushing away or this like forcefulness, right? Whereas letting go is a form of surrender. Letting go is a form of ease and relaxation in our bodies as we release the clenched muscles of our grip. Letting go is something as simple as the leaves that fall. It is allowing what is meant to happen, happen. It is trusting that whatever will continue to stay will stay, and whatever is meant to go will go. It is trusting that we're engaging in this shedding process and that there's nothing inherently bad or even good about it, right? It's natural. So allow yourself to shed and allow yourself to get really honest with yourself about these really hard topics. I mean, just like in this message here, asking, like, if you saw yourself as worthy, what would you choose for yourself? If you were the first person ever created, would that make you see yourself differently? What more do you desire? What is your relationship with desire? Do you feel worthy enough to desire? I mean, you are being gifted such miraculous gifts. The star nursery, like the magician energy, like it's the sun, like you're being led to create at this time and you're being protected in it. So this card really asks, like, what is it that you desire? Can you get really honest with yourself on that? And can you get honest with yourself on people, situations, places that aren't meeting your needs, that aren't meeting what you desire? And then, once you have the answers to that, what are you going to do about it? This reading is being done around the new moon in Cancer. And so this reading, it just feels very much imbued with that energy of release and renewal. Let's go ahead and look at the joy-permeated mother. Number 68 landed on 92. There's a passage in Autobiography of a Yogi that relates an encounter he had with this person. He asks her why she is always so filled with joy and can enter states of bliss instantly. She explains to him that she's aware of her true self. She knows that before she came to earth, she was the same. As a little girl and later when she grew into a woman, still she was the same. And now, sitting in front of them, she remains the same. And even after death, she says, though the dance of creation changes around me, I shall be the same. This is self-realization, merging with that aspect within us that never changes. It's becoming conscious of the self that is eternal, while within this brief mortal existence. She believed that the only true calling or purpose any of us have is to become realized. And so she believed that any action we take toward that goal is sacred. There's a deep, calm, abiding joy that arrives when we can merge with the aspect of us that never changes. There is a bliss we get to experience every time we detach from the surface storms that cause chaos in our lives. If we can remember that we are the guru, that we are an aspect of the divine that remains the same no matter how much change surrounds us, then we get to arrive at a joy that lives at the core of our being. The soul voice meditation is, what does joy feel like in my body? And the intention again is, I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. So I feel like with this card, one of the big invitations it is offering to you is to get still, to tap back in to that core self that feels so strongly of soul essence. The you that is observing everything. Once we can take a step back into that observer role, we can remember, right? We can remember the qualities of the matrix that we're navigating. We can remember that we are not our body, our mind, our emotion. We can remember who we truly are. And if we can tap into that essence, we can then access joy and the fun in the co-creation process on this earth plane. Now let's look up the patroness of impossible causes. Page 13, landed on 4. Despite popular belief, Saint Rita isn't about suffering or martyrdom. Not in this context. Here, she is about the miracles that happen when we choose to be steadfast about something or someone. This does not mean remaining in a situation that is harmful to us. It means knowing that we can believe anything is possible and that everyone is ultimately forgivable. Because forgiveness isn't about someone else, it's about freeing ourselves. We might have to draw fierce boundaries and possibly never see this person again. But we can pray from any distance that a light larger than our own transforms them, that a love that's greater than what we alone can hold and have for them might offer them a new life. Saint Rita is asking us foremost to never give up on what we want for ourselves, and she's suggesting that the path to what we desire is in our belief that is still possible. We might not know how or when things will align for us, but we can participate in a deep prayer, a bone trust that at some point, what we most desire will arrive. The soul voice meditation is, What do I believe is possible for my life? And the intention is, I am miraculous. My prayers create powerful channels of possibility. So this card holds so many codes, as all of these oracles do. But there's something about, one, the miracles, right? Of seeing yourself as a miracle and recognizing that, just like the star nursery that we were looking at, or the magician card that we were looking at, we have the power to co-create with the universe. And this co-creation is the foundation of miracles. Just that co-creative energy is what fuels miracles. But there's also something about the sense of self-trust and forgiveness. Now, I know forgiveness can be a really hot word, and there's a lot of different ways that society has defined forgiveness, a lot of ways that forgiveness has been weaponized too. And I think it's really important that for those of us who are exploring forgiveness, to be able to have the space to explore what that means to us. What I myself have come to a place of knowing when it comes to forgiveness is that I see forgiveness as an aspect of release. I don't see forgiveness as an excusal of behavior. I don't see forgiveness as really about the other person, honestly. For me, I see forgiveness as a holding of the density of that sorrow, that pain, that betrayal. Holding that, loving on it, allowing it to dislodge and move around my auric field, do that healing, and every time that it returns, try to access love for it as I transmute it. And I release over and over again that density or cluster of densities. And over again, I allow myself to experience that love with each release. And allowing myself to do that with more self-compassion really occurred after I allowed myself to set the pain down. I think for a lot of us who have been harmed in relationships, we may feel like we have to carry that pain to stay in relationship with that person. Even if we're no longer actively engaging in that relationship, even if, I think this, the message here with this oracle even talked about like no contact. So even if we get to that place, right, of severing ties or going no contact or estrangement, sometimes we can continue to engage in that relationship through where our mind goes, where it's like we're, ruminating over past pains, past memories, or our bodies are still trying to process all of that and integrate that information, especially if there was trauma, right? Like that, the fragmentation process and the reintegration after that can be really tumultuous in our internal realm. And so forgiveness for me was about, how do I allow myself not to carry this pain anymore? And there's a lot of like what ifs, right? Like if I don't carry this pain, what does that mean? Does that mean it doesn't matter? Does it mean that I'm, excusing their behavior? Does it mean that I'm forgiving them? And forgiveness isn't about the person, place, or thing. If we can repackage forgiveness, I would then just refer to it as a release, an act of release. Releasing the grip, of setting it down. And so some of you may need to hear that. It seems like you are in a really powerful and transformative space in your life at this time. This renewal is really strong in your reading, this release and renewal. And it sounds like in you doing that, it is allowing room for you to be able to co-create with the divine. It seems like you're really coming out of this dark season. For some of you, maybe dark night of the soul. And you're about to create magic. You're about to create miracles. Thank you so much for doing this sacred work. You're transmuting these densities, not just for yourself, but for your lineage, physical, ancestral, ethereal. You're doing this for me and ultimately the collective. So I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.